Every time you catch a flaw in the mirror and pick yourself apart, it does more than bend your confidence. That instant self-criticism creates real stress and tension in your body, and over time, that stress ages you, physically and mentally. Today, I'm breaking down exactly what's happening when you do this to yourself, and I'll give you 3 simple strategies to stop. But before we get into it, hi, my name is Tana. I am 48 and I am on a mission to age as well as I possibly can. If that is your goal too, I would love for you to join me on this journey. I usually talk about practical anti-aging tips and routines. However, mindset plays a huge part on how we age. So today I wanted to talk about self-criticism and the role that it plays in all this. Let's start with the beginning. I used to think that being critical of my reflection was just being honest. But lately, I noticed that it's happening more and more. There is a new asymmetry, a jaw forming, my hooded eyes that I didn't even know that I had. My smile looks different, it's uneven, it's asymmetric, my bones are changing. My bone structure has shifted, and every single time my brain jumps straight into what's wrong, before it even registers that everything is working just fine. Here is what I didn't realize. That instant critical reaction isn't just a mood, it's a threat response. Psychologist Paul Gilbert's research on compassion-focused therapy found that self-criticism activates the same threat system in your brain as an external danger. Your body releases cortisol and adrenaline, the same stress hormones that you will get from something actually going wrong. Shame and self-judgment are some of the most powerful triggers of that response. And that the stress doesn't just stay in your head. The chronic stress has been linked to measurably faster cellular aging. In one well-known study, women under high stress showed telomere shortening, that is a marker for cellular aging, equivalent to almost a decade of extra aging compared to women under less stress. So when you're harsh with yourself in the mirror, your body might be quietly paying for it twice, mentally and physically. It's not dramatic to say your own reflection can become a genuine source of chronic stress, the same category as a stressful job or a difficult relationship. The good news is that the opposite is true too. Research on self-compassion has found that even a brief compassionate exercise can lower cortisol levels, which means the fix isn't that complicated, it's just a skill. Here are 3 ways to do it. The first strategy is notice and name the thought. It sounds almost too simple, but it's the one everything depends on. Notice the thought, name it as a thought, not as a fact, and use it to reference to it. My inner critic used to say it like it was reporting the truth. But the moment that you catch that critical voice, even silently, the moment you stop it and you realize this is a self-critical thought, something shifts and you create a small gap between you and the thought. And that gap is what it stops it from running the whole show. So the next time that you're in front of a mirror and the criticism starts, just name it. Not fight it, not argue, just notice. Here it is again. And that pause alone is often enough to stop the spiral before it starts. For me, it's usually just a phrase like, oh, here it is. Here you are again. Or look at that. And the second I hear it, I know that's my cue. I felt it very strange at first, but honestly, it works. The second one is the friend test. It's a strategy that changed everything for me. And I would say it's probably my favorite. It is asking yourself, will I ever say these exact words to someone who I love? And almost always the answer is no. For some reason, we reserve a level of cruelty to ourselves that we'll never use with a friend. And that matters because self-compassion isn't just a nice feeling. Researchers have found that it activates a completely different system in the body than self-criticism. One linked to lower cortisol instead of higher. So next time you catch yourself in full critic mode, picture yourself saying those exact words to your best friend. If you wouldn't say it to him or her, you don't get to say it to yourself either. Then shift it and say the kinder version. Say it out loud or in your mind. What would you say instead? To make it more effective, negative, I actually think of my specific friend when I do this, someone that I will never say anything harsh like that. And if I wouldn't say it to my friend, then I know I shouldn't be saying it to myself. I find this one difficult because you have to get used to do it, but it's easy to apply because when you think on a person that you love, your brain doesn't know how to be mean to them. So it just stops that feeling, that negativity and that criticism. Now, I would like to know if any of this you have found interesting or useful. Would you be willing to give the friend one a try? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you think about it. And the third strategy is reframe and challenge the voice. That one is the one that finally gives that inner critic something productive to do instead of just shutting it down. Once you have noticed the thought and softened it with some compassion, the next step is actually check it. Is there any real proof of what your voice is telling you? Or is it just an old automatic assumption? I'm gonna guess that most of the time it's probably the second one. Then you can change the tone completely. Swap a demand like I must not fail, or I look horrendous, or something very negative. Swap a negative thought like that with something positive like I am learning or I am doing my best. Instead of my jawline is sagging, I look old, it could be something like my skin is changing and I am doing what I can to support it, and I am going to learn how to work around that. It's the same observation, but a completely different energy. So basically, you direct that same energy toward your next helpful step instead of punishing yourself unnecessarily. Think of it as being your own coach instead of your own critic. A good coach pushes you to be better. A good coach never insults you to get better. And here is the shift that actually changed things for me, more than any single strategy. I used to think that aging well meant somehow not changing, stay frozen on time, but now I see it differently. My personal philosophy has always been that everything is possible if you don't give up. And I started applying that same belief to aging. I feel genuinely lucky to be living in a time where the science is supporting healthy aging as it is. There is so many advancements, there is so much research happening, there is so much information available that I just intend to use every bit of it in my favor. So when I catch myself saying something negative in the mirror, I don't spiral anymore. I just make myself a promise that I will work on it, then that I'll research it and I'll figure out how I can work with it and how can I improve it. So it is more about being a warrior for my own health and for how I look and how I feel, and not so much fighting becoming older. And that's the version of getting older that I actually want. I don't want to be frozen in time, but actually I want to evolve with it, actively, stubbornly on my own side. I am not chasing youth, I am aging on my own terms, backed by science and not fear. And I am sharing everything that I learned here with you because I believe that you deserve it. If you found this video helpful, could you do me a favor and hit that like button? It's a small thing, but it means the world to me. It tells YouTube that it's worth showing it to more women who need to see it. Also, if you know someone who will get some value from this, please share it with her. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you in my community. Please let me know in the comments if there is anything that you would like me to cover in a future video. There is more of this mindset side of aging that I want to work on, but if there is anything that you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments below. See you in the next video.